Good afternoon. It is 1 p.m. here in Kenya's capital, Nairobi. This is The Ambassador. With me, your Ambassador Paul Mathenge. This is where we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. Now, to our very first story, Kenya's former Deputy President, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, has compared his impeachment to that of Donald Trump, claiming it was an act of political persecution for his Christian faith. Gachagua was impeached in October 2024 following a political fallout with President William Ruto, who he stated that he is now in the right position to take over the Kenyan leadership as the 60th president. Let's have a look.
I had to call a press conference as deputy president and disagree with the president in public. And he decided that we couldn't stay together.
In a September 2025 interview with one of the international media house, the former Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, compared his impeachment to Trump's. He stated that both faced retribution of their beliefs.
This is the same thing that happened to Donald Trump. He was impeached because of what he believes in, because of his principles, because of doing what is right for the American people. I stand for what is right, and I would not have agreed to be part of government that is killing young people for whatever reason, because it's against the Ten Commandments, it's against my Christian beliefs. It is wrong.
Gachagua stated that he was impeached because of what he believes in and because of his principles. He also claimed that his impeachment was a religious persecution.
Well, the Kenyan people have put a lot of pressure on me because they are looking for somebody who is truthful, somebody who has integrity, and Kenyans, 82% are Christians.
He was removed from the office on October 17, 2024, after being impeached by the National Assembly and the Senate on 5 counts, including gross violation of the Constitution and inciting ethnic tensions. He denied all the 11 charges, calling them politically motivated.
When you are practicing Christian, undoubtedly you become a very good leader, especially if you are true to the Christian values. Our Christian faith, is very clear on family values. And to build a strong nation, you need to build strong families.
Analysts say a political fallout with President William Ruto caused Gachagua's impeachment. Relations worsened after Gachagua publicly opposed government policies and accused state officials of underhanded practices.
We have a dysfunctional National Intelligence Service that has exposed the president, the government, and the people of Kenya. Had the National Intelligence Service briefed the president 2 months ago about how the people of Kenya feel about the Finance Bill 2024, so many Kenyans would not have died. Property would not have been destroyed. Offices would not have been touched. There would have been no mayhem. But they slept on the job. It had to take people to die, property to be destroyed, protests across the country for the president to know the truth of what the people of Kenya feel. Yet, there is an organization paid for by the public to brief the president and the government about the feeling of the Kenyan people.
This followed nationwide protests over tax hike, which exposed division within the ruling party. During the Senate trial, Gachagua's lawyer said he was hospitalized with chest pain. Despite protests from his legal team, the Senate voted to proceed with the impeachment, which critics cited as a proof of political bias.
After listening to the DP threatening that Parliament and the court should know that it's not easy to remove a deputy president who had 7.2 million votes. Mr. Speaker, after treating Kenyans as fools by trying to mislead on the intent and purpose of his utterances, on the idea of government being a company, it was easy for me to make a decision to cast my lot with impeachment of the deputy president.
Kithure Kindiki was appointed as the new deputy president. The Kenyan court system initially blocked the immediate nomination of the successor, but later cleared the way for Kindiki to be sworn in as the deputy president on November 1st, 2024.
I, Kithure Kindiki, in full realization of the high calling I assume as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, do swear that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya
and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya.
Kenya's former second-in-command is now a top government critic, exposing inhuman activities done by the Kenya Kwanza government.
You cannot endanger the security of the world because of your business interest. It is true you are doing business with Al-Shabaab, but you cannot endanger world security. Don't have sanctions against the people of Kenya or our country. Please, just do the right thing. Impose sanctions on William Ruto as a person. The opposition has been captured and all these institutions of oversight have been compromised, coupled with the violation of human rights, making sure that there is nobody who can hold the president to account.
Will he manage to take over the country's leadership in the 2027 general elections? Time will tell. Davis Karani for GBS News, Nairobi.
Moving on, in Somaliland, a major rescue operation has brought hope amid a growing crisis. 10 cheetah cubs stolen from the wild and bought for the illegal pet trade have been saved from captivity. Malnourished and traumatized, they now begin a long road to recovery. As the demand for exotic animal rises, conservationists warn this is just one clip into a much larger battle. Elvis Moyodi with the details.
10 cheetah cubs captured for the illegal wildlife trade have been rescued in Somaliland's Salali district. Malnourished and limping from being tied up for months, the cubs were found during a police raid. 2 people were arrested and the animals are now under the care of the Cheetah Conservation Fund.
We express our deep gratitude to the police for their efforts in safeguarding these 10 cheetahs that were destined for unlawful trade. The ministry is currently caring for 109 cheetahs which were intercepted while en route to being trafficked outside the country. We encourage the people of Somaliland to protect wildlife in their natural habitats as their best interests lie there. We also request that the police expedite their investigation to take further measures against any other individuals linked to this incident.
The cubs are in fragile condition. One 5-month-old cub was covered in sores and infested with maggots. Experts are reintroducing food slowly to avoid refeeding syndrome, a dangerous condition in starving animals. Many are also suffering from the trauma of being separated from their mothers. Somaliland has become a major transit point for traffickers moving cheetahs to Gulf countries, where demand for exotic pets is rising. Conservationists warn this illegal trade is devastating local wildlife and ecosystems. Officials are now urging the public to protect animals in the forest where they belong. Elvis Muyodi, GBS News.
And now moving on, grief and silence fill the ruins of Terasin, a village in Sudan's Darfur region, after a massive landslide buried the community beneath tons of earth. So far, 375 bodies have been recovered, but the Sudan Liberation Movement fears the toll could rise to 1,000. The landslide hit the remote Mara Mountains, a rare refugee known for its cooler climate and rain. Now, it is a disaster zone, largely cut off due to fighting between Sudan's military and rapid support forces, making rescue and efforts nearly impossible. With Sudan already 2 years into brutal civil war, this natural disaster has deepened the country's suffering, leaving an already devastated region grasping for relief and unimaginable loss. Let's have a look. And now from Congo, the Democratic Republic of the Congo has declared a new Ebola outbreak in Kasai province, marking its 16th since the virus was first detected in the country. Health officials say 15 people have died and nearly 30 suspected cases have been reported. prompting a swift response from Africa CDC and the Ministry of Health. Ibrahim Said with the detail.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has declared its 16th outbreak of Ebola virus disease. Confirmed in Kasai province, the index case involves a 34-year-old pregnant woman who was admitted to hospital last month with symptoms including high fever and repeated vomiting. Since then, 15 deaths have been reported and 28 suspected cases identified across Bulape and Mweka health zones.
I officially announce on behalf of the Ministry of Public Health the resurgence of Ebola.
Following the outbreak declaration, African CDC immediately engaged with the DRC Ministry of Health. Director General Dr. Jean Kaseya traveled to the country to coordinate response effort. Emergency teams have been deployed to support surveillance, contact tracing, laboratory testing, and infection prevention and control.
This represents the 16th outbreak of the Ebola virus recorded in our country. Fortunately for the Zaire strain, we have a vaccine, but to deploy it, we must ensure that all the logistics are in place, because it is a vaccine that requires certain conditions.
Health officials warn that additional cases may emerge as investigation continues. The Ivabo vaccine, which is effective against the Zaire strain, is available and prepositioned in Kinshasa. Authorities are prioritizing rapid containment and community engagement to prevent further spread. With the previous experience managing Ebola outbreaks, the DRC is moving swiftly to contain the virus and protect vulnerable population. GBS News.
And now, the ambassador will take a short break. We will be right back with more as we break down the development news for you and get the bigger picture on what's happening globally.
Welcome to Fun Art Class. Today we are going to make a sailboat. First, you fold a triangle, a half. Friends, today we made a sailboat.
Everywhere, GBS. Today on the show, we're talking about navigating the long-distance relationship.
First of all, the world is now a global village thanks to technology and the internet.
Mm-hmm. When you talk about relationships, when you talk about love, when you talk about feelings, when you talk about emotions, all these things originate from the heart. I never saw in the Bible where someone was married and then the wife was living far away from them and then there was something that they were building.
When it comes to relationships and probably communication, but it is in communication, in effective communication. There is something that long-distance relationships lack, which is very essential for effective relationship building.
When you're cooking and the tap gets spoiled, do you try to repair it from that point, or you run to the main source and then you close it?
everywhere. GBS.
Welcome back to The Ambassador as we break down the development news for you and get the bigger picture on what's happening in all continents. And now, in Afghanistan, families are grieving and struggling to rebuild after a devastating earthquake struck the country east. Aid agencies say children are among the most affected people. Susan Nganga with the details.
A powerful 6.0 magnitude earthquake struck eastern Afghanistan late on August 31st, with its epicenter northeast of Jalalabad in Nangarhar province. Entire villages across Nangarhar and Kunar have been flattened. In Dara-e-Nur Sultan village, families mourn children and loved ones lost. Homes lie in ruins, forcing survivors into makeshift shelters. In Kunar province, villagers dig through debris in search of survivors. Displaced families sit under tents, staring hopelessly at the rubble that once was home. UNICEF teams are already on the ground, working with local partners and UN agencies to deliver urgent relief. That is, shelter, clean water, medical care, and psychological support for children. But the earthquake has hit Afghanistan at a time of overlapping crises: drought, deadly floods, poverty, and the return of millions of refugees.
Afghanistan is experiencing several overlapping crises at the moment. Droughts, return of millions returnees, refugees from Iran and Pakistan, deadly floods, and now we have earthquake.
UNDP officials visiting the worst-hit communities warn of an acute need for new shelters and rebuilding. With winter approaching in the mountains, the race to provide safe housing is urgent.
UNDP will come back here with early recovery, and we will try to restore the normal way of life here as much as it's possible under these circumstances. There's an acute need for new shelters, reconstruction of the buildings.
For survivors like Reza Khan, who lost a brother, and Amir Rahman, who works side by side with his 11-year-old son to clear debris, recovery is a daunting task. Children, many displaced and some injured, face another layer of hardship in a country already scarred by decades of conflict and instability. Susan Nganga, GBS News, Afghanistan.
Moving on, flood victims in Delhi are longing to return home as swollen riverbanks and stagnant waters continue to display hundreds of families. Many residents forced to temporary shelters say the conditions are becoming unbearable, with limited access to food, clean water, and medical services. Authorities reported that while rescue and relief operations helped avert further casualties, large sections of neighborhoods remain submerged, leaving homes unsafe to occupy. The government has deployed engineers to assess structural damage, while health officials warn of possible disease outbreak if floodwaters persist. For now, many of displaced can only wait for the waters to recede, hoping to salvage what is left of their homes and rebuild their lives.
We want to go back home. We live in slums. We earn for our children. The children are just roaming here. We just want to go back. We don't have much food. We don't have any work. We are not able to get and prepare the food that we want to. We have a shortage of food. There is no work.
It rained with a lot of intensity the day before yesterday. It got worse yesterday during the day, and then night. This year, the flood situation is much worse than previous years.
And now, from the Middle East, the Israeli military's indiscriminate bombing of Gaza City is reducing entire neighborhoods to rubble, forcing residents to flee in panic with nowhere safe to escape. The enclave has now endured relentless bombardment for 23 months. Israel's continuous assault on what UNICEF has described as the city of fear persists. On Thursday, an airstrike hit a tent in the Tal Waha neighborhood, wiping out the entire family of 5, including 3 children. Let's have a look. Under the helm of Israeli drones, Palestinians inspect what is left after the strike on tents, housing displaced families in Gaza City's Tal Hawa neighborhood. Among the rubble, what is left of the Israeli drones used in the attack. Total destruction after an onslaught from the air.
We woke up to a strike and screaming. I felt as if it was raining on our tent. I turned on a flashlight and couldn't see the tent.
Several children were killed here, including Mahar's son and daughter.
I checked on my son and I found him lying on his back with blood running down from his nose and bleeding from the back of his head. I started screaming and my brother came and took him from me. Then I went back to check on my second, my daughter Noor, and found that she was drenched in blood from her head to her feet.
Death is inescapable here, and for many the only way out is to flee. Israel's policy of forced displacement is never ending, particularly in the north of the Strip. Recent satellite images show tents have disappeared from a neighborhood in Gaza City. The Israeli military issued forced evacuation threats for these areas in a push to seize control. Palestinians are also fleeing from Jabalia, that's just a few kilometers away. Images captured a month apart show a significant reduction in the tent population. Israel is forcibly moving Palestinians south to areas Dalbala, but they are crowded with thousands of other displaced families. And when they get to central Gaza, there is no guarantee of safety. On Thursday, entire makeshift tents were destroyed by Israeli attacks in Al-Nusrat.
At around 4 in the morning, they bombed the area where we live. My nephew, his wife, and their 2 children were killed. The entire tent was destroyed, along with everyone inside.
They starve us, deprive us of water, displace us, and kill our children, all while the world is watching.
No matter where Palestinians go, Israel continues its indiscriminate targeting of innocent civilians. Reporting for GBS TV. And now, Kenya's under-16 women basketball team has emerged victorious against Morocco in a tightly contested match that kept fans on edge until the final whistle. The Kenyan side displayed remarkable teamwork, speed, and precision, dominating key moments of the game to secure a well-deserved win. Players were praised for their resilience, particularly in the closing stages where they pulled away from their North African opponents. Morocco mounted a spirited comeback in the third quarter, narrowing the gap, but Kenyans' resilience and tactical discipline proved decisive in the final minute. The young players held their ground, sealing the win to the delight of fans and officials. The victories not only boost Kenya's chances in the tournament, but also signals the rising talent among the country's young women in sports. Supporters and officials alike are now running behind the team, with hopes of maintaining this winning momentum in upcoming features.
De rester professionnel un maximum. Et tirer à 3.
And now, as Kenyan women's under 16 outshine Morocco, we say that's all for today. With me, your Ambassador Paul Mathenge on the Ambassador 1 p.m. Follow all of our stories at GBS TV. Africa is updated throughout the day. We meet every Thursday and Friday as we debunk global diplomacy and geopolitics. Thank you for your time and company.